welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name is Hannah. If you're not new, welcome back. This is so up close and personal. I feel like I'm not used to doing sit down videos anymore because I'm just have been in my vlogging era and filming travel vlogs and things like that, so I'm not used to doing like sit down videos anymore. But buckle in because this is the view that you're getting for the next 20-30 minutes, however long I decide to talk today. As you can tell by the title of today's video, we are bringing back the monthly resets. I have done these off and on for several years on my channel. I have a hard time committing to them because sometimes there's months where like you just don't need to reflect on what happened, and sometimes there's months where you don't need to like officially set up for the next month, you know what I mean? I feel like I go through waves of feeling super productive in life and like wanting to set my months and future months up for success, and then waves of just being very content where things are at and not needing to do that. So the monthly resets have come and gone several times on the channel, but I want to bring them back this year, or at least for right now, because I feel like I'm in this super unique phase of life where so many new and fun things are happening, and I just think that it would be a lot of fun to sit down at the end of each month and like reflect on everything that I did the previous month, things that I'm looking forward to in the following month, habits that I want to bring into the following month, and just kind of like sit down and chat with you guys. I just feel like this is gonna be my own version of like a digital journal. I actually put on my 2024 goal list, if you guys saw that vlog, that I want to start getting back into journaling. And while journaling twice a month seems like super daunting to me, I honestly haven't even done it yet this month. I figured one of the journals that I could count for that month would be a digital journal, a monthly reset, where I basically just like sit down in front of the camera and talk to you guys about everything that happened in the month of January, things I'm proud of, things I want to improve on, books I read, places I visited, things that I accomplished, like things of that sort. I just feel like that would be a really fun journal entry, for lack of a better term. Also, if I sound nasally, it's because I am slightly under the weather. I was supposed to film like a whole week in my life vlog this week, and towards the end of Sunday evening I started getting like a really sore throat, and then woke up yesterday and it was just completely sore. And right now I'm currently on so many combinations of medicine. I'm gargling with salt water, I am taking ibuprofen, I am taking like these heavy duty cough drops that are soothing my throat, I'm drinking tea, I'm drinking water. I'm trying to do everything to nurse myself back to health. If I sound nasally, it's because I am a little bit under the weather, but I feel like it's not noticeable enough where like I couldn't sit down and do this video. So we're pushing through the pain to get this video up for you guys. I'm trying to figure out how I want to break up this video series for you guys and the different like segments that I want and sections that I want. So I actually put everything on my Notion. Like I've created like my own little mini Notion page for resets specifically, and like broke down a few sections that I think that I would want to include. So I'm going to be reading off my computer, so if you see me looking this way, it's because I'm reading off of everything that I wrote down. I figured a fun segment to start off with would be my January reflection, just really taking time to reflect and talk about like the milestones that I've achieved in January. And this past month honestly was a big one, as you guys know. We road trip to Denver, we're here for the next little bit. I've experienced so many new places and hung out with people that I haven't hung out with in a very long time, and I just feel like January was such a big month for me because so many fun and new and exciting things happened. So I'm really excited to reflect on this month with you guys. Obviously, first month of the year, it's officially 2024. I feel like 2024 is going to be such a good year. I mentioned that in my 2024 goals too. I just have like a good feeling about this year, and I know a lot of people were saying they have a good feeling about this year. So something is in the water, something is in the air this year. It's going to be a good one, and I'm very excited about it. Obviously, relocated to Denver for the next little bit. I already discussed that one. That was a super exciting thing that happened in January. I also got back into skiing consistently for the first time in years. I grew up skiing actually. I was trying to figure out how young I started skiing the other day, and I started skiing in like 5th or 6th grade, so middle school. And I think that you were like 12 or 13, so I've been skiing for like 13 or 14 years. I haven't skied like consistently every single weekend since I was a freshman in high school, because we moved from a town where we had like a local ski hill that was like what we would do on the weekends, to Virginia, where Virginia doesn't like really get a lot of snow, so I wasn't skiing as much, but I was skiing and snowboarding a little bit in Virginia and a little bit when I went to college. But this is the first time in years that I've picked it back up consistently. So that is like a super exciting thing that happened this month, and I am absolutely loving it. Along with skiing and moving to Denver temporarily, I've also had the opportunity to see so many new places in Colorado already. So the first place is obviously Keystone. I've been to Keystone 3 times so far, and I'm loving it. It's like what's considered a local hill in Colorado, even though it is massive. And a local hill in Colorado is very different than a local hill on the East Coast. Let's get that straight. This local hill is massive, and there's so many different runs and ski lifts, and like so many people from all over come to Keystone to ski. But I guess it is like what they would consider local, because people don't really like come here for vacation that often or go to that specific resort for vacation. They would rather go to like Breckenridge or Vail or Aspen. So I think that's why it's considered local, but I've been loving Keystone. Next place is Breckenridge. I'm counting this because we technically did make it all the way to Breckenridge, and we did get lunch there and like walked through town a little bit and like tried to ski there. But if you guys watched several vlogs back, you know that that was pretty much an epic fail, and we are planning on doing Breckenridge again this weekend, pending that my throat feels better and that I am 100%, because I'm not going to push my body if I don't feel good. But I'm technically counting Breckenridge because we were there, we saw it, we did it a little bit. But I'm excited to go back and like explore it more for sure. We also went to an NHL game this month. I didn't vlog any of that because it was just on a day that I wasn't vlogging, but I did make a TikTok about it and I posted it on Instagram. So if you're not following those 2 platforms, I post different content, or I've been trying to post different content on those 2 platforms that I don't typically post on YouTube. We're trying to diversify a little bit, and that was really fun. They played the Washington Capitals, which is technically my NHL team if I were to claim an NHL team. I will say I don't watch hockey that much, but I do like enjoy the sport when I do watch it, and I think that the games are a lot of fun to go to in person. So the Caps played the Colorado Avalanche last Wednesday, and we went to the game and it was a lot of fun and I loved the experience. Unfortunately, the Caps did lose, but I guess if I had to pick a second NHL team right now, it would be the Avalanche, so go Avalanche. I like how I'm talking about all of these different things that I've done this month, and it was a super expensive month for me, obviously. But another thing that I'm super proud of that happened in January is saving a large portion of my paycheck for the first time in years. I'm not even being dramatic when I say that. If you're new to this channel and for some reason this is the first video that you're seeing, hi, welcome. But a little bit of a background on me. I just recently like relocated Denver temporarily from New York City, so I moved completely out of the city. And if you know one thing about New York City, it is a very, very expensive place where 50% of my paycheck was going to rent and socializing and shopping. We were traveling pretty consistently while also living in New York, which is expensive. So I wasn't really saving a lot of money when I lived in New York because a lot of my paycheck was going to hobbies and socializing and rent and just everyday life. So moving out of the city, I'm actually saving like a good portion of my paycheck for the first time in many years, which is sad to say, but also very exciting. And I'm just super grateful that I'm now able to do that, because I feel like I'm reaching the point in life where I'm starting to save for a house. We want to get a dog eventually. We want to travel some more. Like, there are so many things that we would like to do that we just like weren't able to do when we lived in New York. So because we're now moved out, we're saving money on rent, we are saving money on pretty much every category of life. We're able to put that away for our future one day, which is very exciting. And then lastly, well, not lastly, because I'm sure there's so many other exciting things that happened in January, but just off of the top of my head and what I wrote down, I'm reconnecting with friends that I haven't seen in a while. I mentioned that my roommate from college, my senior year, she actually lives in Denver, so I got the opportunity to hang out with her last week or the week before, and we're planning on hanging out some more in the future, obviously when I'm feeling a little bit better. But I'm just like super grateful to kind of like reconnect with friends that I haven't seen in a while. I'm also like hanging out with John's sister more and just hanging out with new people, kind of like expanding the friend group a little bit. All right, next little section that I want to do is a book recap. I know book recaps, booktube, book talk, books in general are not for everyone, so feel free to skip this section if you genuinely do not care about what books I read in January and what books that I'm looking forward to in February. The first book that I read in the month of January and for 2024 was Daisy Hates by Jessica Hastings. This book is a 5-star read. I love the Magnolia Parks universe. I love the series. I love both storylines that Jessica Hastings is writing so far. And the fact that I started off the year and the month with a 5-star read is crazy. Honestly, super grateful, but honestly also super scared because I feel like it's put a lot of pressure on future books that I'm reading this year, but maybe it's just a sign that it's going to be a really good reading year. I don't know. So if you're not familiar with the Magnolia Parks universe, it's one universe, one series, but there are 2 different storylines happening, and it's every other book. So the first book of the series is based around Magnolia Parks and BJ and kind of like their love story and their lives, and then the second book in the series is based around Daisy Hates and her world and her family and her love story, and then it'll go back. The third book will be another Magnolia Parks book, and then the fourth book will be another Daisy Hates book, and then the 5th book that's coming out in February will be another Magnolia Parks book. So it goes, every other book is a different storyline. For the Daisy Hates storyline and portion of the series, her brother is the leader of a popular gang in London. He's an art thief. She was raised by her brother because her parents died when she was younger. She has commitment issues. It's like this super crazy, toxic, unrealistic storyline, but Jessica Hastings just has a way of writing that sucks you into the world. You're so fascinated by the characters and you're so sucked into the world that you just don't care how toxic it is and you don't care how unrealistic it is. It's just such a fun and crazy and addicting story to read. Next book that I read was Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I gave this book 3.5 stars. This is the second book in the Divine Rival series, and I will say I'm a little bit disappointed by this book. The first book was Divine Rivals, obviously, and I just thought that that book was way better than the second book. I also kind of have beef with this little series duology situation going on because the first book was on Kindle Unlimited. It's still on Kindle Unlimited if you want to check it out, but the second book is not on Kindle Unlimited, and I understand why, because the first book was so popular and like blew up so much that it doesn't make sense to put the second book on Kindle Unlimited, but it is still kind of annoying. Like, I just wish we could have put both on Kindle Unlimited for free, but I digress. I just thought that the second book was kind of slow. I found myself nodding off at times. I feel like it could have been wrapped up way sooner than it was. I feel like it was kind of like drug out a little bit, so wasn't my favorite compared to the first book, but I would still recommend the duology as a whole. Both were good combined, but I did like the first book better than the second book. Next book that I read is Heartless by Elsie Silver. This was another 5-star read. I cannot believe I had 2 5 stars in the month of January. That's crazy, but I just knew how to pick them this month, I guess. This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I have been saying that this is basically like a romantic lovey-dovey version of Yellowstone. If you've watched Yellowstone on TV, you know what I'm talking about. It's basically like a series based around ranchers in, I think, Montana or Wyoming, I don't know which one, but they own a ranch, and that whole series on TV is about like their lifestyle living on a ranch, and there's drama and they're all cowboys, and you get the gist. So if you take that and you apply it to this series and then just throw a little bit of romance in there, that's pretty much what the Chestnut Spring series is, in my opinion. You can technically read all of the Chestnut Springs books as standalones, in my opinion. I would not recommend doing that, however, because the characters from the other books like make appearances in each book, and it would definitely like give away the ending of the first few books. If you like, just like, for example, if you picked up the third book, this first book and the second book, the ending of those would be spoiled by like what's in the third book. So I would recommend reading it in order, although I guess you could read it as a standalone if you wanted to. So the Chestnut Spring series, if you're not familiar with it, is based around the Eaton family. The Eaton family consists of 4 boys, 1 girl, and then the dad. The first book was centered around one brother. The second book is centered around Cade, who is the oldest Eaton brother. He is a single dad, and he kind of like works on the Eaton family ranch, so he has to hire a nanny for the summer to help him watch his son while he works on the ranch. The nanny that he ends up hiring to help him watch his son is the best friend of the female main character from the first book, so you see how like all of the worlds are kind of tied together here. She's 10 years younger than him, and she's super flirty, loves pushing his buttons, is super sassy, like kind of like is this like Spitfire type of character, and he's super grumpy, overprotective, loves rules, is super clean. Like they are polar opposite in regards to personality, and throughout their time together, their relationship obviously starts to get like a little bit less serious, a little bit more flirty. She brings out the fun side of him, he brings out the more serious side of her. They kind of like play off of each other. That's the gist of that book. I'm not gonna give away too much more, you'll have to read it for yourself, but I will say that this book contains a lot of tropes that people like. So single dad, age gap, she's his nanny, grumpy sunshine, all of the good stuff. The fourth book that I read in the month of January was the third book in the Chestnut Springs series. I told you guys I was addicted to this. I immediately jumped from the second book to the third book because of how much I liked that second book. Except the third book is a little bit different because it's one of the brothers of the Eaton family. He's the adopted brother of the Eaton family, and he's actually a hockey player, not a rancher. So you have a little bit of a hockey romance, country ranch crossover happening in this book, which was interesting to read. The male main character becomes part of the Eaton family at a young age due to a tragedy that occurred in his family when he was in high school. So he lost both of his parents and his sister. Bo, one of the sons of the Eaton family, brought Jasper into their home, and he became a fourth brother. The female main character, Sloane, is the cousin of the family that this series is based around, so she's technically fully related to the four other characters in the book, but obviously not related to Jasper because he was like adopted into the family. And she grew up going to the Eaton farm every single summer. Her parents would just drop her off there and she would hang out for the entire summer. So they slowly but surely began to develop a friendship and slowly but surely became best friends eventually. Flash forward 10 years later, he becomes Calgary's #1 hockey star and she gets engaged to someone else. You can kind of see where this is going. When he breaks her out of her own wedding, things take a turn and both characters go on this journey to find themselves together. This book is a slow burn in my opinion. Like it really takes a long time for both of these characters to build up to a relationship or past the friendship phase, but if you like those types of books, then this would definitely be for you. I will say it felt slightly out of place after reading the first two books, just because the first two books are obviously based around like a ranch theme and a country theme. Like the first book was based around bull riding, the second book is based around Cade running a ranch, and then this third book was just like a hockey romance, so it feels a little bit out of place. But I do like how the author intertwined all of the characters, so it like makes sense for the series, but it still just feels a little out of place. And then the last book that I read in the month of January, and I'm gonna use the term read lightly because I got about 20% in before I DNF'd it, is What Happens After Midnight. This is the same author as The Summer of Broken Rules, which I really loved. The Summer of Broken Rules, I'm pretty sure I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars. Very cute summer romance. I was obsessed with it, but What Happens After Midnight just did not hit for me. I just didn't want to pick up the book, so I ended up DNFing it actually late last night. I tried to read it again and just couldn't get past the 25% mark, so I put it down and I probably will never go back to it. I think I've come to the conclusion that I don't mind young adult romance books, especially like summer beach or lake themed books. Like Beach Read is a great book, Happy Place is a great book. The first book that this author wrote that I read was The Summer of Broken Rules. I thought that was a great book, but I don't love just young adult fiction books, and I felt like this book specifically was more just young adult fiction rather than like a young adult romance book, and I just wasn't vibing with it, so I ended up DNFing it. I didn't rate it. Normally I would rate a DNF 1 star because I just couldn't even get through the book, but I'm not rating it because I don't necessarily think that this is a bad book and that it deserves a 1-star rating. I just don't think that it was for me personally, so I'm not rating it. I'm just leaving it unread. I just like removed it from my Goodreads. I removed it from my reading list. Not for me, will not pick it back up. But if you do love a good young adult fiction book, or you're younger than me and you still like those types of books, I would recommend it because I do think it would be a very fun read. I just couldn't get into it for me personally. So those are all the books that I read in the month of January. The next little section for this video that I wanted to start incorporating is good habits that I developed in January that I want to carry along with me to the following month. So in this case, February. That's a very lengthy title. We're still trying to figure out what to actually call it, but you guys get the gist. First thing that I would love to continue and carry over to February is eating good homemade meals. Since we've gotten here, I've been so good about finding recipes on Pinterest and cooking and like finding healthy things to eat. I've been loving cooking, but I've also been loving sharing easy, healthy, simple recipes with you guys in the vlogs. If you guys watch the vlogs and you know what I'm talking about, I've been sharing a lot of cooking content lately, just because I feel like cooking can be such an intimidating thing, and it really doesn't have to be if you find recipes that work for you, or if you just like break it down, or if you see someone else doing it. I feel like it's less intimidating. So I've been loving cooking at home and trying new recipes and exploring new types of food and things of that sort. I've also been working out 4 to 5 times per week. I've been doing Pilates, F45, skiing. I'm counting that as a workout because Lord knows it is. And I've even been doing the Peloton through the app. So I've been working out, not this week because I'm trying to let my body rest, but since we've gotten here, I've been working out 4 to 5 times a week, and I've been loving getting back into a workout routine, like going to Pilates twice a week, going to F45 twice a week, skiing, doing the Peloton class. I've just have been loving it. It makes me feel so good, which could ironically also be where I got sick from, is all those workout classes, but when I'm not sick, they make me feel better. So I love that, and I can't wait to just continue to try new classes and carry on with that routine in February. Another good habit that I developed in January that I'm bringing with me into February is reading for me. And what that means is that I am basically like not reading to meet a book goal, and I'm reading what I want, when I feel like it. I feel like in years past, I have put a lot of pressure on binge reading. I've fallen victim to the book talk and booktube standards, where I'm watching so many booktubers and book TikTokers that binge read books, and I feel like I have to keep up, or like that is the proper way to read, is just to sit there and read 2 to 3 books a week, or 2 books in a day, or sit on the couch for 17 hours and just like read nonstop. I feel like I've kind of fallen victim to that mindset, and I don't like it anymore. I want to read when I want to read, and I want to read what I want to read. I don't want to feel like I have to read all the popular book talk books, and I don't want to feel like I have to sit down and read an entire book in 1 or 2 days. I want to be able to like pick up the book when I want to pick up the book and read what I want to read when I want to read it. So I feel like I did a good job of doing that in January. I feel like my reading wrap up of only reading 4 books is a good representation of that. That's about like 1 book a week. And I even DNF'd a book, and that says something because I hate DNFing books. I will just force myself to read the entire book just so I can mark it off from my list. And I just like had a moment when I was reading that book, like, you know what, I really am not enjoying this book. This is not fun for me. Why am I forcing myself to read something that I don't like? And I DNF'd it, which was really hard to do, but at the end of the day, I just don't think it was the right fit for me, and I love that I came to that conclusion eventually. That is something that I just want to continue to do throughout this entire year, but also in February. Next thing on the list is listening to podcasts during the workday on YouTube. This is so specific, but a lot of the podcasts that I listen to nowadays have been uploading YouTube videos as well. So they'll like record their podcasts on a video camera and a microphone, so you can either listen to it without video on Spotify, or you can go to YouTube and you can like actually watch them speak while they podcast. And so I've been loving putting that on in the background while I work, and just like, it feels like you have company while you're working. I work from home, I work alone for the majority of the day, so having background noise or someone else talking in the background just feels super comforting to me. Some of my favorites have been the What We Said podcast. They recently started doing video and I've been loving it. Gals on the Go, Trisha Paytas podcast just cracks me up. I think she's so funny. BFFs, and then I've also been listening to Cancelled every now and then, which is Tana Mojo's podcast, and I've been loving that one as well because I also think that they're hilarious. Trisha Paytas and Tana Mojo just kind of like fall into the same category in my head. I watch them because they are super entertaining to watch and they have absolutely crazy stories. They're also great podcasts to put on in the background because they're like 2.5-hour podcast episodes each. It's actually crazy how long these go on for, but they're great entertainment for background noise. And then the last good habit from January that I want to bring into February is posting what I want on YouTube without worrying about views. If you do content creation, you know how discouraging it is to come up with a video idea, take the time to film the video, get super excited, post it on your platform, and then kind of have it tank. It is extremely discouraging. It's a little bit depressing. It makes you feel like a failure. It makes you feel like, why don't people want to watch this type of content? I thought it was a great idea. Like, what is wrong with what I'm doing? And I feel like I've had that happen a few times this month where I've come up with a video idea, gotten super excited about it, posted it, and it has tanked. More so than other videos on my channel. And I just have had the mindset where, you know what? No. I like this video idea. I think it's unique. No one else is doing it on YouTube, which I think is also why it's tanking, because people tend to watch the type of videos that they normally watch. So if you sit down and you love week in my life vlogs, like, you're gonna consistently watch week in my life vlogs because you know that that's the type of content that you like. Whereas if you see new content on YouTube, you're less likely to click on it because it's not something that you're familiar with or that comforts you. So I feel like that is part of the reason, but also it's just like something new and different that I feel like not a lot of people are necessarily into. So I don't know. The ski vlog that I posted, for example, I vlogged myself skiing Keystone. That video pretty much tanked, and it is very discouraging to see like the view count on that video. And I know that posting on YouTube and posting content isn't all about the views, but at the end of the day, like, views are how you know that your audience likes something, and views are what keeps you motivated and going as a content creator, in my opinion. So it is discouraging to see like your ideas or certain ideas flop that you were really excited about. I'm ranting. All that to say is that I just want to continue the mindset that like, I want to post on YouTube what I want to post on YouTube, and I want to post on social media what I want to post on social media without worrying about the views. I want to post things that I like, things that I get excited about, things that I think that are fun, are creative, are unique, because I think it's a good idea. I don't want to worry about getting only like 100, 200 views when I'm normally getting 400, 500 views. Like, I don't want to have to worry about that. And whether or not I actually stay with this mindset, we shall see, but that is the mindset that I'm going into February with, because I still have some fun ideas for February. I don't know whether or not these ideas will flop or not, but I'm just gonna do them and have fun with them, and I'm doing it for me at the end of the day, and it's my content, my platform, so we shall see. That was a long rant. I hope that made sense. Last category that I want to get into, my camera's blinking red, which means it's about to die, so hopefully we can wrap up this video really quickly. I just really quickly want to take the time to talk about things that I'm looking forward to in February and things that you guys will see on the channel. So first thing is that there are a lot of holidays for me in February, meaning there are a lot of like fun events happening. So John's birthday is in February, our anniversary, it'll be our 5-year, which is crazy that we've been dating for that long. So I'm excited about that. And then obviously it's Valentine's Day. We don't typically do a lot for Valentine's Day because it's like John's birthday on the 13th, Valentine's Day on the 14th, and then our anniversary on the 22nd. So it all falls within like a week and a half time frame. So we normally just do his birthday and our anniversary as like the two big celebrations, and Valentine's Day just kind of gets like incorporated into one of those. But still, it's a fun holiday. I'm starting to like it more the older I get. I used to hate Valentine's Day, and not because I was like one of those people that thought it was stupid. I just genuinely just didn't really have an opinion on Valentine's Day. I just don't really care about it, to be honest. But the older I get, the more that I'm like, oh, it's kind of a cute, fun holiday. Like, I wouldn't mind going out to dinner or something. We have some trips planned in the month of February to 2 places that I've never been. I'm going to leave them both as a surprise for you guys because those will be travel vlogs that are up on my channel. So something to look forward to in February for you guys is that there will be 2 new travel vlogs to places that I've never been to. up on the channel this month, and I am so excited to vlog it for you guys. I'm so excited to experience both of those places for the first time. Lots of day trips also in towns in Colorado that we've never been to before that I am super excited to see. I have a whole list on my Notion of places that I want to visit in Colorado before we end up leaving, and I think that this is the month where we'll finally get around to doing a lot of the day trips. We did Boulder this past weekend, and I do want to do like Colorado Springs. I want to do Fort Collins. We want to do a ton of other little towns around here just to experience the state as a whole, like get a good idea of everything that Colorado has to offer. So that's fun. And then the very last one are 2 books that I'm looking forward to that are releasing this month. One of them is a book that actually released today on January 30th, and it's the 3rd book in the Crescent City series, but I feel like I'll be reading it in the month of February, so that's why I'm saying it's something to look forward to in the month of February. And then the last book is the 5th book in the Magnolia Parks universe. Not the last book in the Magnolia Parks universe, but the last book for the Magnolia Parks storyline. Those are some fun things to look forward to in February. I'm sure there are a ton of other things that I forgot to mention, but those are just like the highlights. I have been talking forever. I've had to cut out like several water breaks at this point because my throat is so dry, and I feel like the longer I talk, the more nasally I sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and end off this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm really excited to continue on with like this little series this year of my, we're gonna call it a digital journal, my monthly digital journal. Just we're putting it on the internet. Make sure to subscribe if you are new around here, because I make a ton of content, as you guys can tell, based on like my rants throughout this whole video. And I'm just super excited for the upcoming months and February specifically. So I will see you guys in the next vlog.